Hey YouTube friends, so I'm gonna try and make this as short as I can. No promises there. It's definitely gonna be longer than most of my videos. I just shot it already and it was like a 20-minute video, so I'm trying to trim this down. But what this is it's gonna be a video response to a video that Dilliya did. I will link you to that video in the description. I highly recommend you watch that one, whether or not you watch my video, because her video is really good. It really made me emotional, actually, and that's why I want to do a video about this topic, is it made me realize a lot of things that I didn't even know were floating around in my own mind and in my own heart. So, warning, if you cannot handle people talking about menstrual cycles, click out of this video like right now. If you can't handle me talking about my menstrual cycle, just click away. I promise not to get too graphic. Too graphic. Depends on what you define as graphic, I guess. You're warned. How about that? Okay. So I'm gonna do kind of what she did and sort of take you through my journey, I guess, on womanhood. But there's a major difference that I noticed immediately when she was talking about her journey into that and mine, and that is that I still, even now to an extent, have always felt this like horrible sense of shame around it. And it's really weird because in no way was I raised to feel shameful about it. I just do. So I think that's so odd that I'm a part of a religion that celebrates that part of being a woman, and yet I've never found it contradictory that I'm like incredibly, pretty much ashamed of my own body, like in a lot of ways. And I know a lot of that too, and I will just mention this now, I was really bullied, like bad, from like about 4th grade up through 7th grade. So I know a lot of that, and a lot of that bullying had to focus on my body. So I know a lot of that comes from that, but I never got bullied specifically about my menstrual cycle, I don't think. Like, not that I can remember an instance, but I still feel this really weird sense of shame about it, and about like my sex life, and just, I don't know. Anyway, so to start, I had my first period when I was 12 years old. I was in 6th grade, and I remember that it was almost the end of the school year, which means I would have been close-ish to 13, but not quite. And I remember very well that first one because it's very painful. It was so painful, I was homesick from school that day. And it was really weird because I can't remember why, but I know nobody was home with me when it started. Like, my mom had left to go do something real quick, and I was by myself in the house. And I just felt miserable. Like, I had bad headaches, my stomach was upset, like I just thought I was sick. I don't know. So it was very odd when I walked into the kitchen, and my cat, fat cat as a matter of fact, was sitting on the kitchen table, and he always like greets me when I come in, and so I walked over to him and I was petting him, and he reached up and booped me on the nose, and like right as he booped me on the nose with his nose, I felt this gush come like into my underwear, and I was like, what happened just now? Like, oh my god, did I just pee my pants? And so I ran into the bathroom, and I had started my period, and I just kind of sat there for a second like, because I was feeling freaking miserable, and then my immediate thought was, is this seriously going to happen every month now? I was not thrilled. I was also really embarrassed in a weird way. Like, I was mostly kind of shocked by how it started, because it was just kind of weird that my cat like bumped me and I felt that sensation. But I will tell you, I don't hear other women talk about this, so if this happens to you, please let me know so I don't feel like a weirdo. But almost every single month when I start, to this day, I feel that gush. Like, I will just be sitting here just doing my thing, and then all of a sudden I'll be like, whoa, need to go to the bathroom and fix some things here. Like, that happens every time. So, it's really weird though, because I told my mom as soon as she came home. She was very happy. She made a big deal out of it, like it was this awesome thing, and I was so embarrassed. Like, I don't know why. I just was like, I didn't want to talk about it really. I just kind of like, no, okay, it's cool, we're done. And I got further embarrassed when my dad wrote me this really nice poem about me becoming a woman and like gave it to me as a gift. And I was just so embarrassed. I was like, no, Dad, like, why are you talking to me about this? Like, I don't want to think about it. And this is what I'm saying is my parents never did anything that should have made me feel shameful. But I felt shameful, like, the whole time. And everybody, the worst part was like everyone knew. Like, when it happened, somehow, I could not keep it to myself. People just knew it. And I have, like, my mom is one of 5 girls. So the very next time we went over to my grandma's house, and of course I'm suddenly carrying a purse, one of my aunts is like, she started her period, didn't she? And I'm just like, why? Why are we talking about it? How do you know, first of all, but why are we talking about it? Apparently carrying a purse around means that I have to carry around lady objects, which I guess is a dead giveaway when you're a goth kid and you usually hate purses. I don't know. But I was very disappointed with the whole concept of periods. And Dilliya talked about how when she had seen the video that they show you on anatomy and what's going to happen to your body as you get older and all of this puberty type stuff, that she was really excited. And I was not excited. Like, I was just sitting like in class and they're like, we're going to show you a video. And I'm like, oh, okay, this happens, whatever. This is 5th grade, by the way. And they split up the girls and boys and we go watch our respective videos. And they start talking about how I'm gonna bleed from this orifice that I don't like to talk about already several days every month, and I'm just kind of like, what? Why? And then the whole time, like I kept thinking, like, when the boys are in the room, I was like, what video are they watching? Like, what is gonna happen to their bodies that I didn't know about? So I was terrified of all of this. And then I found out too, I don't know why this scared me so bad because it's really not that bad an experience, but when my mom started telling me she went to the gynecologist and I'd already started my period, like, by this point, and I was asking her, like, what is the point of that? Like, what do they do and all this? So she told me about how they pretty much have to cut a little piece out of you and test it for STDs and cancer and whatnot every year, and I'm just like, somebody's going to do what? What? I was so scared that thinking about that made me sick to my stomach. Like, I could not handle that. And then by the time I was old enough that I had to do it, it was like no big deal. But like as a kid, I was just freaking out. I did not want any part of any of this. And what I think is funny is she talked a lot in her video about like motherhood, because obviously she's like at least 10, actually I think she's 11 years older than I am. So she talked a lot about motherhood because she's got 3 kids. She's gone through a lot of processes and stuff that I haven't even gotten to yet. But in particular, I still noted that she was enthusiastic about all of that even before it happened. And continued to be enthusiastic about it after her first kid. Like, she met the guy that she fell in love with and then wanted to have more kids and was like, I have to do this with this man. I've met the man in my dreams, and let me just tell you right now, I don't know if I want to have kids. Like, I did not have that instinct of let's make babies with you. Like, I'm so scared of childbirth. I'm so scared of everything to do with my body. I'm just a really anxious person in general. And a lot of that anxiety comes with, like, dealing with pain. Like, because I've had such bad stomach problems my whole life, like, anything that has to do with painful anything, I'm like, I have done enough. I am not interested in more. So, I'm still, to this day, not convinced that I really want to have kids. In particular, my big things that make me kind of debate it are, if I do have kids, I'm very committed to the idea that I want to be a stay-at-home mom. At least until they enter school, I want to be a stay-at-home mom. And if I am not a stay-at-home mom, I would like to work and have a job and do volunteer work and other things that I want to do with my life. And I feel like if I cannot, it's one or the other. Like, I can't have both of these things. I don't want both of these things. So I don't know which one I'm more, I don't know. My concept of this whole thing is I am 24 years old and I don't care how many people I know have already had babies or several babies or whatever. I am not at that point yet. Like, and my mother-in-law is pressuring me so much already. to have babies, and I'm just like, hold the train. Like, we're not even at that station right now. So I guess I am very different from Dilliya in the sense that I am not enthusiastic about that. Also, she went through a really tough process where she cannot have children anymore, and that still really upsets her and is like devastating to her, because even though she got to have some, she might have wanted more and she can't do it now. That is actually a possibility in my own life for a couple of reasons. I am gluten intolerant, for those of you who are not already aware. And one of the things linked to gluten intolerance is fertility problems, and they don't know why. Maybe all of the stomach complications. Like, I have no idea what causes that, but that is something that they have noticed a link to. On top of that, I seriously don't know if I've talked about this in the past at all or not. I may have. I've done enough videos at this point, I can't remember half the crap I've even said, but in college, especially when I very first started college, like my freshman year, that was the first year I was really sexually active. With my husband, by the way. That's like the only guy I've ever been with, so don't judge me, please. I would get UTIs 1 to 2 times a month, every month, for about a year to, actually not a year and a half to 2 years that was going on, before they finally put me on a preventative antibiotic that I take that targets that particular thing, and I take a small dose every night before bed, and ever since they put me on that, I have not had a single UTI since. So I am not an advocate of taking medications and stuff, but I literally, like, my quality of life was suffering so much I couldn't hardly make it to class. So if you want to bitch at me about medicine, I'm just not going to agree with you on it. Like, I can't really do anything else. But all of that going on for so long before we finally figured out what was going on, and kind of came up with a solution for it, I guess, caused a whole lot of scarring. So there's, I guess, linked with all of that too, there's a chance that that might also make me infertile, or have complications, miscarriages, or whatever. So not only am I not convinced just yet that I want to have kids, but I may not be able to have them at all. And at this point in my life, I do not feel that sense of loss. Like, if I found out today that I could not have children, I don't think it would bother me that much. Part of this is I am a mother hen in general, and I kind of view everyone as my child, including adults. Like, I mother hen the crap out of everybody. So my apologies if you are one of those people who knows me, like, outside of YouTube. You know exactly what I'm talking about, I'm sure. But I guess my point is, like, I can fill that mother role, like maiden, mother, crone. I can fill that mother role without having my own kids, I think. And I say I think because, dude, I have no idea what it would actually feel like if I found out I couldn't have kids. This is speculation. So until I go to do that and find out anything, which I may never even go to try, I don't know. We'll see, I guess. But, and I also have a list on my computer of certain talking points I wanted to hit, so hold on a second here. Oh, something that Dilliya did not mention, but she talked a lot about tubal ligation, and that to me sounds like a terrible ordeal. Like, I've heard multiple people talk about really bad experiences with that. I want to talk about my bad experiences with birth control. So to all of you gentlemen out there who are dating a woman who is on birth control, or you're married to one, maybe be more grateful and be aware that that is some really crappy stuff to take. And I take it still. I would rather do that than have a random baby. Just, I'm not prepared for that right now, so. But this is something else I will say, that I've mentioned this to a couple of different doctors now, or nurses or whatever, and they get kind of snippy with me. But this happens every time. They change me from one generic to another generic birth control, which is like, I take Lutera, so any Lutera generic, they're like, well, it's the same thing, so it shouldn't be any different when you take it. Well, guess what? Every time they change me over, I get sick for like 2 weeks. Horrible dizzy spells, horrible nausea, like I feel like walking death for a while, until it finally mellows out. And people keep trying to convince me that that is not actually taking place. And I'm like, seriously, they've changed me around at least 4 times in the last 2 years. I'm pretty damn sure that I know when this is occurring and why it's occurring and how long it lasts at this point. Like, I know. So, I will say, taking regular Lutera doesn't do that to me. It's all of the generic ones that seem to do it. But they put me on one over the summer that I was on. I know you will notice that there was a sudden drop in my video production. I got really freaking depressed for no reason. Like, I told my husband, like, this is so stupid, but I felt like I was PMSing for 3 weeks out of a month instead of 1. Because I would just burst into tears and all kinds of terrible crap. And it was because of that dang stuff. And it was making my boobs sore and just everything. It was ridiculous. So, I don't like birth control. And that's another thing about having a menstrual cycle that sucks, is you have to be really careful that you don't get periods. Or you don't miss periods. Wow. You can tell where my mind is right now. Anyway, last thing I really want to say about this is stuff to do with, like, I guess how I tie this into my pagan practice. And I don't really tie it into my practice so much as how I sort of view the wheel of the year, how I view the cycles of both male and female life, because guys go through a process too, it's just not the same one. But I guess I highly relate my menstrual cycle to my ancestors. And this is no joke. Every single time I have really bad cramps, which sometimes does not occur and I'm lucky, and a lot of times they're so bad, like I'm just rocking, or like I have my head on a table and I'm crying, it sucks. And anytime that happens, one of the things I think about, and it actually makes me feel warm in my heart as much as like everything else is in terrible pain, is that every woman that I know, every woman on the planet right now, and everyone who came before me has had to do this exact same thing. And it's one of the things that makes us women. And if I want to, like, there's a difference between, to me, I guess, like, being upset because I'm gluten intolerant, because not everybody has that. And all girls have to do with periods, pretty much. Like, there are a few girls who are exempt from that, I guess, because complications and whatnot. But all of us have to go through that, pretty much. So it's one thing that really allows me to connect to the changing of life and everything, even if I don't necessarily feel like experiencing the whole motherhood thing. I still can connect to that idea, if that makes sense. So, anyway, pretty sure I hit everything I wanted to hit, and I did it in like 3 minutes less time, so that's good. That's all I got, and my camera is also about to die, so I am dedicating myself to doing more darn videos this year. So I'm not gonna make any, like, promises or whatever, but there's gonna be more. So, yeah. See you guys soon.